Imagine this. It is 2:17 a.m. on a Tuesday in the quiet Borikiri suburb of Port Harcourt. The rain is beating the zinc roof like angry drums. Inside a small parlor that still smells of yesterday's gari and egusi, a man named Victor Okon sits on the edge of his torn sofa, phone in one hand, a brand new pistol in the other. His eyes are red, not from tears, from pure calculation. On the screen is a WhatsApp message from Mama Grace Eek, the kind widow who sold her late husband's Okada to lend him 1.8 million naira last month. Victor, my son, the interest is due tomorrow. My daughter's school fees. Please. Victor stares at the message, then at the pistol. He smiles the coldest smile you will ever see. He types back, Mama, I'm coming to see you now. I have the money. Then he stands up, wipes the rain off his shoes, and walks out into the darkness. That, my brothers and sisters, is how the story of the man who borrowed death truly began. If you're watching this from Port Harcourt, Abuja, London, New York, or even a village in Rivers State right now, drop your location in the comments and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss when karma finally knocks on Victor's door. This is going to be a long ride. Victor Okon was not born wicked. That is what made his story so painful. He grew up in the same Borikiri compound where his father, Papa Okon, used to sell pure water and roasted plantain by the roadside. Everyone called Victor the sharp boy because he could talk his way into anything. When he finished secondary school at Government Comprehensive, he promised his mother he would study business administration at Rivers State University and lift the family out of poverty. But university life in Port Harcourt showed him something else, the fast life. Girls who wanted iPhone 14s, friends who drove tinted Corollas, parties at Eleka here where champagne flowed like water. Victor wanted all of it, so he started small, borrow 50,000 naira from one friend, pay back 70,000 naira in 2 weeks, borrow from another to pay the first. The cycle was sweet until the amounts grew bigger. By 2023, Victor had built a reputation. Victor is reliable, people said. He always pays. What they didn't know was that the ones who stopped receiving payment simply disappeared. First was brother Chinedu Hart, the barber at Rumukurusi, lent Victor 850,000 naira for import business. 2 months later, Chinedu was found floating in the New Calabar River with his throat cut. Police called it cultism. Victor cried at the burial and even contributed 100,000 naira to the widow. Second was Sister Fatima Sul, the young pharmacist at Rumomasi, 2.3 million naira for hospital expansion. Fatima's body was discovered in her shop with an empty bottle of rat poison beside her. Suicide, they said. Victor led the prayer at her funeral. Mama Grace Eek was going to be number 3. If this story is already gripping your heart, please pause. Right now, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. We still have 12 more parts and karma is coming heavy. Victor parked his borrowed Toyota Camry 2 streets away from Mama Grace's house. He wore black jeans and a hoodie even though the rain was warm. The pistol, a small black Beretta he bought from a boy at Creek Road, felt heavy in his pocket. Mama Grace opened the door herself, smiling like a mother. Victor, come in, my son. The rain will not let you stand outside. Inside the parlor was simple. One sofa, a framed photo of her late husband, and a calendar from 2022 still hanging on the wall. Her 17-year-old daughter, Blessing Eek, was asleep in the inner room. Sit down, Mama Grace said. Let me warm the soup for you. Victor sat. His hand stayed inside the hoodie. Mama, he began softly, things have been very hard. The container I imported got seized at the port, but I have good news. My uncle in Abuja is sending the full money. Tomorrow. I just need 2 more weeks. Mama Grace's face fell, but she still smiled. 2 weeks is fine, my son. Just don't forget my daughter's WAEC registration is next month. Victor nodded, eyes on the floor. Then he stood up. Mama, let me use your bathroom first. The old woman pointed down the corridor. Victor walked past the bathroom, straight into Blessing's room. The girl was sleeping peacefully. He raised the pistol. One shot. Silencer made it sound like a door slam. Mama Grace ran in screaming. Victor turned the gun on her too. Two bodies. One night. He took the 1.8 million naira cash she had kept under her mattress, wiped his prints, and walked back into the rain like nothing happened. By morning, the whole of Borikiri was crying. Armed robbers attacked Mama Grace and her daughter, the news said. Victor even posted on his status, "Rest in peace, Mama. The world is wicked." 3 weeks later, Victor was at a bar in D/Line celebrating with his new girlfriend, Sandra. He had used Mama Grace's money to buy a brand new iPhone 15 and pay part of his house rent. Life was sweet again. Then his phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello?" A woman's voice, calm and cold. "Victor Okon. You think death has no eyes?" He laughed. "Who is this prank?" The line went dead. That night, he dreamt of Mama Grace, standing at the foot of his bed, blood on her white wrapper, pointing at him. He woke up sweating. The dream felt too real. If you are feeling the chills already, comment "Karma Loading" and please subscribe. This story is about to get darker. Where are you watching from? Tell me in the comments. Victor started seeing things. At Mile 3 Market, a woman who looked exactly like Mama Grace smiled at him from across the okra stall, then vanished when he ran toward her. At his barber shop, the new apprentice boy kept calling him Mr. Borawe under his breath. His friends noticed he was drinking more, jumping at every horn. Then came the first real sign. One evening, while Victor was counting money in his room, his phone received a WhatsApp voice note from a deleted number. The voice was Mama Grace's, exactly her voice, recorded months earlier when she was alive. "Victor, my son, if you ever betray me, the ground will open and swallow you." He deleted it, but it came again and again, every night at exactly 2:17 a.m., the same time he had killed her. Victor decided to run. He packed a bag and drove to his uncle's house in Owerri. But the moment he crossed the Imo River Bridge, his car suddenly stopped. Engine died. No fuel gauge warning. Nothing. While he was under the bonnet trying to fix it, he heard footsteps on the wet tar. A man in a black suit, face covered, walked up to him. "Victor Okon," the stranger said, "you owe 13 souls. Payment starts today." Before Victor could speak, the man vanished. The car started by itself. He turned back to Port Harcourt that same night, heart pounding. We are now in the middle of the story and karma is warming up. If you want to see how Victor's life completely crashes, smash the subscribe button and share this story with one friend right now. Tell me, are you watching from Nigeria or abroad? Back in Port Harcourt, strange things multiplied. Victor's mother suddenly fell ill with the exact same symptoms Mama Grace had complained about before she died. Constant headache and bleeding from the nose. Doctors said it was spiritual. His girlfriend Sandra left him after she found old voice notes of Mama Grace begging for her money on his phone. Every person he had killed began appearing in his life in different bodies. The new tenant in his compound looked exactly like Chinedu the barber and kept asking, "When are you paying your debt, Victor?" He started sleeping with the lights on. He stopped borrowing money, but the killings had already happened. The debt was blood, not naira. Victor ran to a popular pastor in GRA Phase 2. The moment he entered the office, the pastor looked at him and started crying without being told anything. "My son," the pastor said, 13 graves are calling your name. You cannot outrun what you planted." The pastor prayed. During the prayer, Victor saw all 13 faces, the people he killed, standing behind the pastor, staring at him with empty eyes. He fainted inside the church. Victor went back to Mama Grace's empty house at midnight. He knelt on the blood-stained floor. The family had not cleaned it properly and cried for the first time in his life. "Mama, I'm sorry. Take the money. Take everything. Just leave me alone." The room became icy cold. A voice whispered right behind his ear, "Money cannot buy back blood, Victor." From that night, Victor began to waste away. His body started rotting from inside, even though doctors found nothing wrong. His skin peeled. He coughed blood. People said he smelled like a corpse. His friends abandoned him. The same people who used to borrow from him now crossed the road when they saw him. We are almost at the end. If this story has touched your soul, please subscribe and comment. Karma has won, so I know you reached there. Where exactly in the world are you watching from right now? Victor had only one thing left, the pistol he used to kill them all. He sat in the same parlor where it all started, rain beating the roof again. At 2:17 a.m. exactly, every single person he had killed walked into the room. Mama Grace, Chinedu, Fatima, and the 10 others whose names the world had already forgotten. They did not speak, they only stared. Victor raised the pistol to his own head. "Mama, forgive me." The last thing he heard before the shot was Mama Grace's soft voice. "We have forgiven you, my son, but the ground has not." Victor Okon was buried in a pauper's grave at the Port Harcourt Cemetery. Only his mother came. She placed a single white handkerchief on the coffin, the same one Mama Grace used to tie her money. To this day, young boys in Borikiri tell their friends, "If you ever borrow money and feel like killing the lender, remember Victor Okon. Karma does not use WhatsApp. It uses your own blood." 3 months after the single gunshot that ended Victor Okon's life echoed through his parlor, the rains in Port Harcourt refused to honor the calendar. October should have brought Harmattan dust, but instead the skies opened wider, as if trying to wash the city clean of memory. Mama Okon, now bent like a question mark, lived on in the small Borikiri house where Victor grew up. The compound smelled permanently of wet cement and kerosene. Every afternoon she sat on the low stool outside, staring at the gate as though expecting her son to walk through it, hands in pockets, grinning that charming grin that once fooled everyone. She had stopped going to market. Neighbors brought her gari, palm oil, small envelopes of money. They pitied her, but they also feared her. Some whispered that Victor's spirit still walked with her, that she carried his curse like an extra wrapper. One Tuesday evening, just as the call to Maghrib prayer floated over the neighborhood, she found it. White handkerchief lay on the wet ground near the gatepost. Not muddy, not torn, immaculately clean, as though someone had ironed it minutes earlier. She recognized it instantly, the same one she had folded and placed on Victor's cheap plywood coffin. Her fingers shook as she unfolded it. Inside was a tiny scrap of paper, edges crisp, handwritten in careful slanted letters. "The debt is not paid until the last borrower remembers." Mama Okon pressed the paper to her chest and hurried inside. She bolted the door, lit every lamp and candle she owned, then sat on the floor, rocking back and forth. That night, the wind changed direction. It came from the direction of the new Calabar River instead of the usual southwest. And with it came voices, not loud, not angry shouts, just murmurs. Conversations happening in another room. Mama Grace laughing softly at something her late husband said. Chinedu Hart arguing passionately about Super Eagles' chances in the next AFCON. Fatima Sule humming an old Hausa lullaby while counting tablets. They were not ghosts in white sheets. They were memories wearing flesh again. Inside the house, inside her head, inside the raindrops hitting the roof. Mama Okon whispered into the dark, "I'm listening. Tell me what you want." The voices answered as one, calm and final. "Remember us. All of us. Every name, every face, every promise broken." She began to write. By candlelight, on the back of old NEPA bills, she listed every person Victor had borrowed from and betrayed. 13 names, 13 lives. She added details she had heard in whispers. The Okada Papa AK left behind, the pharmacy Fatima was saving to expand, the wedding Chinedu planned before the river claimed him. When dawn came, the list was complete. She folded it inside the handkerchief and buried it under the mango tree in the backyard, the same tree Victor used to climb as a boy. The voices stopped that morning, but the handkerchief reappeared on the gatepost the next evening, fresh, clean, with a new note. Now tell the living. Emeka was 17, the same age Blessing Ike had been when Victor's bullet found her. He lived 3 houses down from Mama Okon and delivered pure water sachets on his bicycle after school. He noticed her first because she stopped buying from him. Then he noticed the handkerchief ritual. Every few days, a white cloth on the gate, sometimes with paper inside. One rainy afternoon, he knocked. "Auntie, you know by water again?" She looked at him through the burglary-proof bars. Her eyes were tired but kind. "Emeka, come inside. I have something to show you." She sat him down, gave him hot tea despite the heat, and told him the entire story. Not the polished version people told at beer parlors, the raw one, the dates, the amounts, the excuses Victor gave, the nights he walked out with a gun in his pocket. When she finished, she handed him the latest handkerchief note. Emeka read it twice. "Auntie, this thing is real. Real as the rain beating this roof." He took photos of the list with his technophone. That night, he posted it anonymously on a popular Port Harcourt WhatsApp group, PHC Gist and Vibes, with the caption, "Read this before you lend money to anybody again." Karma no dey use Instagram filter. The post spread like fuel on fire. By morning, screenshots were everywhere. Twitter, now X, Facebook, Instagram stories. People tagged old friends. "Remember when Victor borrowed you money?" "See the listo," some cried. Some cursed Victor's grave. A few defended him. He was under pressure, now Yahoo boys push him. But most importantly, people started remembering the victims again, not as statistics, as people. Mama Grace's younger sister in Aba came forward with old voice notes of her sister begging Victor for the money. Chinedu's widow opened a small barbing salon in his name and posted pictures. Fatima's pharmacy was reopened by her cousin. They kept her photo on the counter. The city began to speak the names aloud. Inspector Daniel Hart, no relation to Chinedu, but the coincidence haunted him, had handled 3 of Victor's cases back in 2022 to 2023. He always suspected foul play, but could never prove it. The files gathered dust in the old state CID building. When the list went viral, Daniel pulled them out again. He drove to Borikiri in his unmarked Corolla, knocked on Mama Okon's gate. She let him in without question. "I never believed it was just robbery or suicide," he told her, "but evidence, we had none." She gave him tea and the handkerchiefs, all of them, every note that had appeared. Daniel read them in silence. "This handwriting," he said suddenly, "I've seen it before." He drove straight to the old evidence room. In Fatima Sul's case file was a suicide note, allegedly written by her. The slant, the curve of the G, the dot over the I, identical. The note had never been genuine. Victor had planted it. Daniel reopened the files unofficially. He visited families, took new statements, found one witness who saw Victor's car near Mama Grace's house that fatal night. Another remembered him selling a gold chain Fatima always wore. It wasn't enough for court. Victor was dead, but it was enough for truth. Daniel visited the cemetery, stood at the unmarked grave, spoke quietly. "You thought death was the end of payment. You were wrong." In Abuja, Victor's uncle, Chief Okon, who once promised to help him start legitimate business, began having the same dream. Every night at 2:17 a.m., Victor standing at the foot of his bed, soaked in rain and blood, holding out empty hands. "Uncle, help me pay." Chief Okon would wake sweating, heart racing. After the 3rd week, he flew to Port Harcourt. He met Mama Okon, read the list, wept like a child. "I should have done more," he said. "I knew it was going wrong. I looked away." He used part of his pension to settle small, outstanding debts Victor left behind. Money owed to petty traders, tailors, Okada riders. Not the big ones, the small, painful ones. Then he erected a small cenotaph at the cemetery, not for Victor, but for the 13. 13 names carved into black marble, 13 small candles that families could light. He called it the Garden of Remembered Promises. Sandra, Victor's last girlfriend, never returned to Borikiri. She moved to Rumokoro, changed her number, tried to forget. But one evening a package arrived at her new salon, a white handkerchief with a note. You were next, but you left. Thank you for leaving. No signature. She cried for hours. Then she began telling young girls who came to braid hair, when a man borrows money and his story keeps changing, run. Don't wait for proof. Run. She never mentioned Victor's name. She didn't need to. The street already knew. After 11 months, the rains eased. The Harmattan arrived late but fierce. On the first dry Sunday, people gathered at the Garden of Remembered Promises. Mama Okon came, supported by Emeka on one side, Chief Okon on the other. 13 families lit candles. Some sang, some prayed quietly, some just stood and remembered. A soft wind moved through the cemetery, carrying the scent of wet earth and candle wax. No voices this time, no handkerchiefs, just peace. Mama Okon placed her hand on the marble and whispered, "Now you can rest, all of you." Years later, young people in Port Harcourt still tell the story, not as ghost tale, but as warning. They say, if you borrow money, pay it back. If you can't pay, be honest, but never, never borrow someone's life to cancel your debt. The handkerchief stopped appearing. The voices faded, but the list remained, photocopied, photographed, shared in group chats, printed and pasted on some barbershop walls. Victor Okon became a name parents used to scare children straight. Don't be like Victor, karma no they negotiate. And somewhere in Borikiri, on quiet nights when the zinc roof creaks, older women still light small lamps and whisper the 13 names like a prayer, because forgetting would be the final betrayal. In this life, every debt has interest. When the principal is blood, the interest is memory, and memory never forgives compound interest. My people, if this long tale has touched something inside you, has made you pause before you borrow, before you lend, before you break trust, then stay with me. Please subscribe right now so you never miss the next story. These are real warnings wrapped in real feelings, straight from the streets we walk every day. Drop a comment. Where are you reading this from today? Borikiri, GRA, Lagos, London. Let me know. And share this with one person who needs to hear it. Until the next tale, stay honest, stay kind, stay alive.